the words of Ursula K. put, chocolate is happiness you can eat. When you enjoy this treat, do you ever think about how it was made, who invented it, and how did it come about? In this short documentary, I'll answer all these questions and more. Afterwards, when you enjoy a delicious chocolate treat, you'll know a little more about its history. There are three main types of chocolate: white, milk, and dark chocolate. White chocolate is different because it doesn't contain any cocoa solids. Cocoa solids is what gives chocolate its dark brown. As for milk chocolate, according to the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, milk chocolate must contain 10% chocolate and 12% milk. Then there is dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is the healthiest of all chocolate and is getting more popular because of that. There are other types of chocolate that are not so well known, such as bittersweet chocolate, cocoa powder, and ruby chocolate. They are not as well known but still taste as good as the others. Bittersweet chocolate is a little more bitter than semi-sweet chocolate. Ruby chocolate comes from a special cacao pod called the ruby cocoa bean. Lastly, there's two types of cocoa powder: Dutch processed cocoa powder and natural cocoa powder. So this is the cocoa bean, and we are going to open it using the knife, and we're just going to go on the groove right there. So you take the knife and then you just get in there, and you have to do that all the way around on each side. And then when you flip it over, you can cut that side too. And then once you finish cutting, then you pull it open, and there are your cocoa beans. Next, you have to ferment the beans, but since we don't have a fermenter, we're just going to take the bean out of the white pulp around it, and since that doesn't have a name, we'll just call it the white gooey stuff, and we make a hole in it, and we peel the rest of the white gooey stuff off of it to get to the bean, which looks like this at the end, and then we have to dry it. The next step to making chocolate is roasting the beans. You put them in the oven on a low temperature for at least 20 minutes and wait for them to roast. The next step to making chocolate is grinding the beans, but since I don't have a grinder, I'm going to use a Morton pestle. In factories, they usually grind it for 6 hours, but I cannot stand here and grind it for 6 hours, so I'm just going to grind it for a couple of minutes. The beans should look like this when you're finished crushing them. They should be the texture of Play-Doh. Your next step is to add cocoa butter to it to make it liquid chocolate. The next step to making chocolate is to temper it. Tempering chocolate means heating and cooling the chocolate to stabilize it. Tempering makes the chocolate glossy and gives it a snap. After it's tempered, pour it in a mold to set out. Once it's dry, the process is finished. This is the final result, so let's see if it has that snap. It didn't really have that snap, or it doesn't really have a glossy texture, so I don't think I really tempered it that well, so maybe next time. Chocolate dates back to the Olmecs of southern Mexico. Chocolate started out as a bitter drink. The Olmecs passed on their knowledge to the Mayans, another South American tribe. The Mayans used this drink for celebrations to finalize important transitions. Mayan chocolate was for everyone, not just high-class people. The Mayans had the bitter chocolate treat at every meal, and it was often served with chili peppers, honey, or water. When chocolate first came to Europe, it was only for the rich. According to History.com, in 1828, Dutch chemist Conrad Johannes van Houten discovered a way to treat cacao beans with alkaline salts to make a powdered chocolate that was easier to mix with water. That process was known as Dutch processing. In 1847, British chocolatier J.S. Fry & Sons made the first chocolate bar made from a paste made of sugar, cocoa powder, and cocoa butter, but it was still hard to chew. In 1879, a Swiss chocolatier, Rudolf Lind, invented a conching machine that mixed and altered chocolate, giving it a smooth melt-in-your-mouth consistency that blended well with other ingredients. After hearing a little more about the treat we all love, I hope you feel more interested to learn a little more about this food. Thank you for listening to my documentary.